I enjoy building things, tinkering, and fixing things up. I've always been a fan of building Legos as a kid, and now into adulthood, I still enjoy doing that. I also like to make things out of wood. I made these nunchucks, and this is actually made out of foam. This is a turtle shell. So I could be Michelangelo alongside my son, who is Raphael, for Halloween. And so naturally, as somebody that likes Balisongs, I've always wanted to mod some Balisongs. Now, this is my first thing that I ever did, which was I made this wooden scale for this Balisong, but as you can see, it broke, so. And then most recently, I modded my first Balisong a little bit. I made these custom inserts, but I also ground down the edges so they would be less sharp, and then took out some of the handle material here, and I should do it as well here because it still does not fan very well because it's very handle heavy. But it's about time I get to more serious mod work. Now this Balisong I did get for Christmas, one Christmas from my mom, thanks Mom. And it is pretty good, but I think it would be the perfect canvas to do some modding just because I think it would just be really fun to mess around with and try and make it just look and feel just a little bit different. The first thing I want to do is add speed channels, which of course it takes away handle weight, but it's also going to give it a nice ring, hopefully, and would also help a little bit with grip because the faces are pretty flat. So while it might make it into a bit of a better flipper, it's more so just going to be about the process and just having fun, making something more unique and customized. But those are just my plans, and let's get into it. Okay, so I've taken apart the Balisong. Got the hardware on here. Put that aside. First, I want to talk about the handles, specifically speed channels. How's this going to work? As far as making the actual holes themselves, it'll be pretty easy. I'm going to use this Dremel. That'll make the holes. There's no way I'm going to freehand that. It would not come out well. So to help me, I have this Dremel workstation. Now this, it kind of just fits in there. And it's also it's like a drill press. So that takes care of the depth. So we're good there. But once again, I'm not just going to freehand that. Would not work. So for that, I'm thinking a jig will do the job. So essentially, I can probably have this here. That'll be like my guide. Now, let's see if I can actually pull this thing off. Okay, so the first step is I had to lift it because this plate that I'm gonna seal it with sticks out from the bottom, so I don't want it wobbling around. So that'll just make it easier. Plus the screw that's long enough to go through the jig, this, and the wood would stick out. So this will make sure that I can use the screws. Okay, so the jig is actually coming along pretty nicely. I can slide through. It's a little bit tight on this side, but I'd rather have that. I think it would be easy enough to slide. But over here, there's just a little bit of wiggle, which is too much. Okay, so I moved this over to here, and I made sure it's tighter. And now if I push it through, it's a little tight, but I think it'll be good. This was just kind of my reference of where I'll put the bit, so that way I know okay, if I'm starting here, I'll put a block here, and then I'll push it until I want it to stop, and then I'll put a block here. So now I gotta measure that and put those blocks in. Okay, so I've finished the jig. I've added the 2 stops, so now I can put this in here, and then I can slide it, and it goes just the length of the speed channel right where I want it. Now comes the hard part. Securing it to here. It's pretty sturdy, so it's working. It's janky, but it is working. I've set this, looks like it's just a little bit to the left, so maybe I'll reset it before I actually start. This is looking pretty good. It is very solid. This is not moving. It can only move in one axis, so I think we're ready. Here I am starting the speed channel. This footage is sped up 32 times. It was really slow making progress. I'm not even including most of the footage I had recorded. I just wanted to keep in a little bit just to give some sense of how long it took. And here is the progress that I had made so far. And I kept going for quite a bit before stopping. I didn't make much more progress though. Okay, so I haven't been recording because it's night. I thought I was just gonna have to grind a lot with this because it was really slow. So I was using this bit, and I was like, this is not working. This can't be right. And I was looking through my other bits, and in preparation for this, I was just kind of watching some more videos. So watching the video that Will Hirsch and Brandon made with Machine Wise, and they were pointing out that $90 carbide bit, and I noticed that this one had the same shape because it's flat as opposed to the curved one. and it's working much better. Like, way better. I'm gonna keep grinding on this. Yeah, it's working a lot better. Hopefully this bit stays sharp because I don't think I have any more like this. It's still pretty slow going. The tooling drift seemed to go the other way for some reason with this bit. Whereas before, when I pushed it down, when it would carve, it would go that way. Now it's going the other way, which has caused it kind of to be off center the other way, because it was kind of being off center before with this bit. It was a little bit off center to the left, and I was trying to fix it and have it go more to the right, but it kept going down and then over to the left, and then now it keeps wanting to go to the right. Yeah, and now the edges are super sharp because this is just like a straight up and down cylinder versus that kind of cone shape. I'm thinking I'll try and move the bit over to make it more even. It's definitely gonna be pretty wide of a speed channel. Disappointing update. I was carving it out and it was looking really good, but it was still just a little bit over to the right. So I was trying to move this over to the left just a touch so I could just finish out the other wall. You can see it's off center, and I realized that arrow is like my center point. So moving it to the left also moves it slightly back away from the arrow, which moves the center point up, which means that the speed channel, as you can see, is shifted up. So moving it to the left also moves it up, so it is not even. The issue that I'm having here is when I loosen this, it's moving this left or right. Either way, it's moving it in a circle. So it's never going to be moving in directly one axis. So I guess good to know for the other one, I have to align it perfectly. That probably won't work anyway because I'll have to make it wider to match this speed channel. This bit, it is way past its limit. It was slowing down the progress because that bit was like, the bottom was totally destroyed, and I was so close. I just wanted to break through, so I just made some holes in it. Yeah, I'm excited to finish up the other one, so I'm gonna order some more of those bits. It's been quite a few days. I've ordered some of these bits. They come in this pretty cool container. I don't know why. This just looks so cool to me. These are specifically designed for milling aluminum. It is the same size as the other bit. Let's do it. I definitely should have started with buying these bits. There's just a tiny bit of material left. It just absolutely tore through it in just the right way. It made it a lot easier. I've milled out what this can reach, and now I have to get the sides, clean that up. But I think the way I'm gonna do this is, instead of moving this, because that'll change the length of the speed channel, I'm just gonna move the jig itself left and right, hopefully keeping it in the same spot on this axis, so that way I can just clean up the sides. And then I thought about getting some router bits to really finish out the edges, but I'm probably just gonna see if I could just do that by hand. Okay, I pretty much have it where I think I've done. Obviously there's some mistakes like that when I first moved the bit and it went too far up. This bottom is a little bit weird shaped. The speed channel is like perfectly the width of the channel, which is definitely a little bit wider than I wanted it, and that was just because like I moved it, just because like my process wasn't that great. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it. If I knew everything that I knew now, I'd be able to do a better job, which I do have a second course to do, but I need to make it as identical as I can to this one. This side is really clean. This side is a little bit scratchy, so I'm definitely gonna have to smooth that out in addition to rounding the edges. Also, because the way that the handles taper, you look on the inside of the channel, even though I could set the depth with this, because this handle is at an angle, it like goes down at an angle. So that was a small oversight. I should have been lifting it as I went. And it would have been hard to get a really precise line though. I mean, ideally, my whole jig would have been at such an angle to make it flat. And that would be how to fix that, but instead it's like that. Something else as well is, because all the chips and the shavings go in this path, you could see it has this like stain from the chips and me pushing down and sliding it over and over again. It's kind of worn away at the anodization. It actually kind of looks kind of cool. Depending on how the smoothing and the speed channels look, I may or may not remove the anodization, because I think that'll hide a lot of the mistakes. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be setting the tool to where it works on the one I've already done, and then once I have that like set, then I'll just switch it out for the new one and give that a try. Let's get started with the second handle. Okay, well that just happened. This is definitely outside of where it's supposed to be, because I put it down and the whole Dremel just rotated this way quite a bit. It's because of this thing had gotten loose, which it allows this whole thing to rotate 90 degrees. And this has gotten loose, I guess, over just all of the milling that I've been doing. I tightened that down. It shouldn't happen again. That's unfortunate. I was hoping this would turn out better, but it might not. We'll see. Yeah, this bit is definitely a lot better for this. This went really fast. I basically just drilled holes straight through next to each other. Yeah, this is looking good so far. Definitely needs to be a little bit wider, and I think a little bit longer. That worked so much better. It was way faster. I'm talking like probably like 10 times faster at least. You can see from that very initial start, I've got a little bit over the lines. It's really not too bad, because what I need to do is I need to finish the edges. I'm thinking if I round it out, I could have it kind of go a little bit wider to cover up those marks, and that could work. The question is how to do that. I think I'm just go at it by hand, see how that goes. So here we go. Okay, so at this angle with the other milling bit I did, I hit it with like a chamfer on the edges to really get a lot of material out. And then I have this bit, which I looked it up and it was for non-ferrous materials. As you can see, it really got gummed up with aluminum. It worked out okay, I think, to like smooth out the rest of this. Okay, so I've just reassembled it. As you can see, it is speed channeled. It's time for the first flips. I definitely need to oil it. Okay, right now, I'm just surprised at the lack of ring. I can like maybe barely hear it. Let me oil it and see if that helps. Okay, so I just oiled it. Wow, there's not a lot of, because like normally speed channels add really nice ring, so I was kind of looking forward to that. That's so weird. It's not like the tolerances aren't good either. It's still no tap. Not a ton of play. There's like a very faint ring. Okay, so as far as the balance, let's see how the chaplains do, because this thing didn't chaplain great before. That wasn't too bad. Honestly, like, I can't tell. I don't think it made the chaplains worse. It might have made it better. Okay, maybe not. I kind of thought it would make the chaplains worse because there's less handle weight, but I wasn't sure because at the same time, I removed all the handle weight from here. So that means that there's, out of all the handle weight, there's more of it concentrated at the end, so maybe that helps. This is, yeah, it's cool. So, I mean, it definitely makes it a more unique experience and a unique flipper in my collection. So that's really cool. Definitely glad I did it. But yeah, like there's like a lot of scuff marks. I think if I had really slowed down, it would have been a lot better, but oh well. So the next steps for this, I might actually just, I was gonna make an entire video, about modding this Balisong, all the mods, but I might just make this like a part 1, and I don't know when I'll do the other mods. I think that the flipping overall is better than I thought it was going to be, but while the flipping is actually better than I hoped, I am actually a little bit disappointed at the sound. The fact that there's really no ring, there's just like a slight ring. I'm just kind of disappointed because I was really looking forward to having a nice like speed channel ring. I'm not sure why that's the case. If you think you know, please leave a comment. But overall, I mean, I'm very happy. I would much rather have the flipping be a little bit better, or about the same, and have like have the ring not really be a thing, as opposed to the other way around, having a really nice ring but the flipping be worse. So, and overall the sound isn't worse or anything, it's just I'm a little bit surprised that it didn't have the ring that I thought it would. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how this thing came out. Thank you so much for watching this, and I will see you in the next stages of this project. Let me know if this is something you're going to try out on one of your Balisongs, or if you enjoyed watching this video and like to see more videos like this.